I don't know why
Transition.
that didn't work, but here we are, boys. We are live. I have no idea why my intro didn't work. It is broken, so I'll have to fix that after the show. Welcome back to the Commish. So here's the thing, right? I said I was going to do a show every single Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and last week Monday 9 p.m. Eastern came, and I didn't do a show. Do you guys want to know why? I had
What's up?
I had no idea that it was Monday. I completely went through Monday, didn't realizing it was Monday. I thought it was Tuesday all the way up until we got to Friday, well, to Thursday. I was telling my wife, "Yeah, thank God it's Friday." She's like, "What are you talking about? It's Thursday." I was like, "What?" I went through a whole week thinking it was the day, so I fucked up. It's my bad. I wasn't here. I said I was gonna do it. I didn't. I lied, but I'm back and I'm here, and we're still gonna do something live. Ice Cold, how you doing, buddy? Okay, so if you guys don't know, to my damn, that is backwards. Over here, we've got Nick, known as Aaron, fellow commissioner. And over there, we've got Nick. Can you point to your left?
Point to my left.
Yep. And over there, we have Sirius Mac. We're
What's up,
here.
y'all?
We've got a whole show ready to go. We're going to talk about some really cool things that could potentially be coming up. We're going to talk about some things that likely may not happen, some things that we discussed, and we're just going to throw them out there and see what you guys kind of think of them all. But let's get into some new stuff. Ice Cold. Did you guys know that Ice Cold, or DG Ice as we know him, has a new tournament section set up in the Discord channel where he's going to start running tournaments on Madden, poker nights, different kinds of things. So that is set up. As soon as he gets that rolling, it'll be rolling. But there is a new feature in the Discord. Did you guys know that was there?
I did. I knew that was there. And I'm glad that we're going to do Poker Night again because Poker Night was pretty awesome in the past.
Yeah, I got pushed away from the table quick on poker night, but I ain't gonna stay away from it. I'm dead.
Yeah, I like that they included the feature. So the first time we did a poker night, I had never played poker before. It was my first time kind of diving in. Like, I'd done some things like here and there. Like Red Dead Redemption had a poker, and I played the fuck out of that. So I knew like a little bit. But all the different cards, all the different kind of combinations you can get to win, I had no idea where those were placed or anything. So like the first time we got into like the poker night on the show, I didn't really know any of the things, so I lost my money quick. But the last time we played, they actually tell you like as you're playing if you got like a winning hand, so it was super helpful to a newbie. So I'm definitely looking forward again because I feel like I can kind of hang if the game helps me know what I've got.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into some new rules, Nick. We were talking all week. You've got some things that you've been working on. I had to shut you up earlier because you were already talking. I was like, all right, we got to hold up. Tell me. Can you give the audience, everybody watching, give them some insight on what you have been doing in the last week or two?
Oh, man. I've been doing a lot of things behind the scenes. Usually around this time, that's what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's as commissioners. We have to re-up for the brand new season, so we have to reintroduce a bunch of new things like the contract calculator, for instance. It's almost there. It's very close. I've been working on the numbers, and eventually we're going to roll that out, and that'll be beautiful for everybody to look at. That is something we can talk about down the road whenever it's introduced, but we were able to pass a few new rules for the upcoming season. Now, not rules, they're more guidelines. Let me explain what they are. So one of the very first things, now last season we had a rule change where the 4-3 defensive end, we couldn't move them to the inside if they were undersized, and there was a lot of back and forth to that. There was a lot of people that were upset with it because, who was it? Somebody had a Bosa. They couldn't move Bosa in. Bosa's undersized.
That was
You
politics.
can't move. Yeah, so he was trying to make him, like a part of the a defensive end and then like a 3-4. So we nixed all that. We said under 270 pounds, done. Or no, 280 pounds. Sorry, 280 pounds was the limit. So we just made that a hard cap. But this year, I felt like maybe we could work with it and we could turn it into something where people could actually get a player that they want. So if somebody weighs 275 pounds and they want them to play that 3 technique and the 3-4, then boom, they go right in there and there they are. So I'll show the graphic later once I can put it out there. But something along the lines of you cannot take a defensive end under 270 pounds and turn him into anything. So that's the cap. At 270 pounds, you can turn him into a 280-pound person, but you'll lose -3 acceleration, -3 speed, and he'll get some strength. Now, by doing that, you'll be able to adjust your scheme to be able to move that 4-3 defensive end to the inside if you decide to go from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and you got to start moving people around. Another one is 274 pounds. He loses 2 speed and excel. Another one's 278 pounds. He loses 1. So it's in between. You get 3 different things to choose from, but it's over 270 pounds to make it to a 280-pound limit. Now, I'll explain this more so you can see it. So it may be a little confusing for you, just me explaining it to you. I'm trying to rush through. Another thing that we just passed yesterday was moving cornerbacks to safeties. Now, the guidelines before were pretty wide open. Am I right, Mo?
Yeah, they were. We didn't adjust. One of the things that was my biggest fear when we were talking about it before was you could take a bad corner, right? And as soon as you move him over to safety, he becomes like one of the top roaming safeties like in the game, because a lot of the safeties in the game don't have high skill positions for is that better? Don't have high skill positions for stuff like zone coverage or man coverage. So that was my biggest concern going forward, but I think we came up with a solution for that. You want to tell them what that was all about?
Yep. So moving a cornerback to safety, we are going to start with anybody that is 188 pounds and heavier. That's the starting guideline. So after the fact, you'll have 2 different things that you can go for. It's 188 pounds plus we'll get like a -3 speed and acceleration, plus 5 tackle, -6 awareness and play recognition for making that change to the back end of the defense. Then you have 193 plus pounds and gets -2, plus 5, -6. I'll get and post this so you can see this. But the minimum requirement after the position switch is that the safety cannot be any higher or any taller than 6 foot and have a speed higher than 89. So not everybody's going to qualify. And then he can have nothing lower than 198 pounds and 68 tackle. So there will be 4 different things that you'll have to look at whenever you're trying to switch somebody. You're like, okay, so I'm trying to switch this guy. He's 190 pounds. I want him to make, I want him to get a 198. Let me look at the speed. Whenever they subtract things and add things, is he going to fall in it? So not everybody's going to qualify. They're not going to qualify. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to take this guy and get him in there, it's not probably going to happen. But it's something that, down the line, you may draft somebody, and it may change your draft strategy. Maybe like, oh, maybe this guy can be moved. So that's one thing, or the second thing that we changed. The third thing we changed, and I think I put out like 6 different things, so we shot down a few things out there. Mm-hmm. The third thing we changed, and we just changed that 30 minutes ago. Like we talked it out, and it's over with. Using a 3-4 outside linebacker to be able to be a sub linebacker. Now, there's a reason that we want to throw that in there, because 4-3 outside linebackers are interchangeable with the middle linebacker. But sometimes you'll go out and get a free agent, or you'll trade for somebody, or you'll draft somebody in your 3-4 scheme. They're not a pass rusher, they're not a speed rusher, but they're an outside linebacker, and they could be somebody that you could use as a sub linebacker. The minimum requirement for that is zone coverage 70 or better, which is still going to be a small amount of people. We're not making these rules so the league can be, cheese fest. Mm-hmm. You still have to be able to get certain players to fit these rules, and we'll keep an eye on everything as we go forward.
Yep. No, I thought the thing that I like about most, because I know some people are out there like me. I have ADD, so when Nick tells me these numbers, or I'm going through and I'm reading these numbers, I typically wait for everybody else to reply, and that's not because I don't read it. It's because it is so hard for my brain to comprehend what I'm reading and come up with a plan for that, right? So the thing that I love the most about as this was happening, when Nick first put out this message, and this is a huge shout out to the reps, when Nick first put the message out to have them talk about it, we had 7 different reps reply within the first 10 minutes or something. Like, they were killing it as they were responding. So it was just awesome to see. I really enjoyed watching them go through it. There were a couple things that I was concerned with. Like, I don't want to see I don't want to see guys that are edge rushers start moving all over the place. I don't. And so like those are some things. And again, I'm one vote out of how many votes that we have for it. So I really enjoyed the process. Huge shout out to the reps for it. Calc, as somebody, or Serious Mac, as somebody that's on the as a league member, you're not involved in these chats. What are your thoughts as you're starting to hear some of these things?
I'm all about balance. So I think that's the first thing I appreciate when I'm, listening to what Nick has to say as far as what he's been added in. I am all about, making sure that we are not, being a cheese league. And I think that just the guidelines and the margins that were put on these position changes, it work out well. So not too much beyond that. I actually love it. It makes me feel like when someone makes a move, it'll just be, it'll be something that'll be balanced, and it won't be nothing that could be exploited. And I'm a defensive minded guy when it comes to how our league does things. So it seems like there was a lot of thought can this be exploited when this was brought up, and based on what I'm hearing, it seems like it can't be. So, you're going to be able to do some things, but you're going to have to sacrifice for it if you want to do it as well in some of these occasions. So I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. Is this a little bit better, Ice Cold? I don't know if you can hear me better. No, I agree. I really like that as we discussed it, everything was centered around what is the most realistic way to handle some of these things. Again, huge shout out to all of the people that were involved. Another thing that we kind of discussed about, and this was with the Commish chat the other day, and it kind of parodies over to, we haven't released this yet. It's not something that we took to the reps yet. It's not something that we voted on and said that we're going to do it. But I have talked to some developers who were concerned that the scenarios were going to cause issues. So just so everybody knows what EA's plan is going forward right now. EA has a lot of scenarios that they would like to include into the game that are not already there. If you've played Owner's Mode, you're going to see that most of those scenarios are out. They do have the dev scenarios now in where somebody will get a chance to kind of go up every once in a while. But outside that, there's nothing. Hold on, it doesn't have... So there's nothing. I can try to mess with that after. So their goal is to take the stuff that they have right now and try to bring that over into the other one. Now, 2 years ago, Nick, when they first started putting in scenarios, do you remember when they did that?
Yeah.
The big issue that we had was once they started messing with scenarios, well, those scenarios are tied to, hold on, baby, I'm doing my show, are tied to your season. So as they start editing those things, if you've gotten awards or you've gotten something tied to those scenarios that are now changed, it starts to break the in-game mechanics of the game, and it froze out a lot of people's things. We had to restart the entire league. So, baby, I need you to go. Like, I'm doing my show. I'll be out there in just a second, okay? So one of the things that we... All right, I love you. Can you close my door? No? All right. So one of the things that I reached out to them, I was like, hey, so as you guys are doing all of this work, can you just be honest with me and tell me, could this cause some issues? And nobody is going to come out on their side and be like, yep, it is, right? But when you develop relationships with people, they kind of have ways to speak with you. So I was like, hey, so what do you guys think? Is this going to be a future issue? Like, what's going to go on? And the best response that I got back from somebody was, the best way we can describe it is a restaurant currently being under construction, but we do have our drive-through menu open. That was the way they explained it to me, was they are redoing everything inside, but they're still going to make functions available to you as you go through. They're just not going to promise that you're not going to find any dust in your food. Like, that's kind of how I took the information given. So that led me to, I reached out to Serious Mac, reached out to commissioners. I actually reached out to commissioners outside the league. I reached out to probably about 20, 25 people, and I was like, hey, this is something I've thought about doing. Can you help me come up with something that would resemble realistic? Like, what's the most realistic way? And we got back like a few different responses from people that were like, hey, we could do this, we could do this. And a lot of them were very similar. A lot of them were very different. It was a really cool process to see where people's minds kind of went as they went through this process. But then the commissioners team sat down and we kind of discussed our own system. And it was really involved around two different kind of plans. Serious Mac had come up with an idea that I really gravitated towards, and that was, you can't just have one system. You almost have to have two systems that kind of play off of each other. So we had an in-season system. We had an off-season system. Now, the In the off season, you would be granted an X amount of tokens or points or whatever. You would then get to spend those on people, and the 3 people you spent it on the most, they would get an opportunity throughout the year to have dev opportunities. Now, no one would know when those opportunities came up. And at the end of the year, we would pull like 8 commissioners from all across the leagues, or we would get a randomized spinner or something, and it would fall on a week 1 through 17 on a week that you played. And if one of your top 3 games of the year was played on that date, your guy saw a dev opportunity. So it was a really hard thing to get. It got rid of all the cheese of, hey, we're going to do this thing where we're having to get 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, and I'm going to cheese to one guy because he needs 200 yards this game or something. So we wanted to come up with a system that was like that. Having said that, I actually got an update today saying we think you're going to be able to get through it. Like, we got through some of the ones that we want to include. I think they got another one in. It did not cause any big issues, so they're hopeful it won't cause anything. So right now, we haven't voted on something. We don't have this new rule in place. But if something does happen where it looks like these scenarios are going to break the game, I want people to understand there is a plan in place, and it's not a foolproof plan. At first, we would give it out to the reps and everyone else, and you guys would get an opportunity to kind of poke holes into it and see where this doesn't work. But there is a plan in place that we think, if they fuck it up, we can put something out there that works just as well, if not better, than what EA has already. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. But even then, I don't know if right now I would even vote to change the scenario rather than just go and try what they already have. I think they've done a good job in the last year. So having said that, what are your guys' thoughts? Nick, you were involved in that chat. What did you think?
I put that in I put that in the long list of things that I was doing over the week. So I wasn't able to focus entirely on it, but I did try to think of some different scenarios. And I know that if for some reason the scenarios in game, suck, we'll be able to figure it out. We'll come up with something, and we'll talk with the reps. We'll have the reps talk to the community. We'll get something out there. At the end of the day, we want the game to be fun, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I do. I want the game to be fun. I also want to. I don't. If we had to have had that restart anytime after what had happened in the game the last time it happened, we would have had to completely restart with no one, because once it goes into the off season, people change and contracts change and rookies come out, we never would have been able to recreate that. So for that to happen immediately when it did was a blessing. And it is good to hear that they are listening to our concerns, and I'm pretty sure that's a direct feedback from what I did, because I didn't ask for an update. They just kind of hit me back up today, and they're like, hey, so about what you asked us about a couple weeks ago, this is what we're working on. So I'm hopeful that they are taking in those concerns and been like, hey, we could have a lot of future problems on our hands, because that's how I approach it. I didn't approach it with, you guys are going to piss me off. I was like, hey, so if you guys are doing all this construction, the last time you did this construction, it pissed off everyone. What are you guys going to do this year when you add all these new features and everyone's excited to get their leagues going, and then you do this construction and shuts them down? Like, are we going to have like a whole year where you guys are going to have to deal with all this drama? And they were like, I don't really want to do that. So it was some good dialogue back and forth. I just hope that they are continuously keeping those things in mind as they're building. Make sure your T's are crossed and I's are dotted, because if not, you're going to fuck up a lot of people's franchises. So that was my big hope as I was approaching my conversations with people. Getting into the next part was owners versus coaches mode. Now, this is not something that we have come to a final agreement on. Like, we actually talked about it. We've said we're on a wait and see to kind of see how they adjust their things. Calc, I'm going to start with your series. Mac, I'm going to start with you. What is your opinion on owners versus coaches mode?
Well, I think you and I, we talked about it briefly. So when we opened up the test league and SK Gaming was running that, I grabbed Washington as an owner just to see if the scenarios will actually appear, and I have not gotten one. So I found that to be, maybe it was just my team or just me, I don't know if anyone else has tried owner mode, but I didn't get any of the scenarios that you get when you do coach mode. And with coach mode, it's just a phenomenal amount of different scenarios between individual player scenarios, tandem scenarios. They have scenarios designed in coach mode where it's not necessarily an opportunity to upgrade in your development, but it's an opportunity to get extra XP for that player. So I thought that was pretty cool. But it is a night and day difference between coach mode and owner mode. So I think it would be, something that we would have to move to if it comes to it. But just with the things that you guys got, you guys are talking about with the scenarios, I'm always about preparation. So sounds like you guys are on, in the back channels doing what needs to be done and keeping us ready, and if you all know the saying, if you ain't gotta get ready if you stay ready. So that works.
Facts. For the first few years, I think we weren't so good at making sure we were ready for what was unexpected. I mean, because when you're new at this, you don't really know what to expect, right? But now after having 4 to 5 years of seeing where EA messes up, see, here's the thing. When it comes to the scenarios, it's not that I don't trust EA to get it done right? My issue with EA with this is I've seen them mess this up so many times in the past that their track record for messing up the scenarios to break the game just outweighs where they've done it right. So I'm hoping that after all of the failures, they've come up with a plan where they're like, bah, we can't keep doing that anymore. Now we've got a plan that works. But then on this other side, I'm like, but it's EA. So it's a process. Here's the only concern that I have with doing... How you doing, Soden, bro? Here's the only concern that I have with doing coaches mode over owners mode, and that is it almost makes having all of the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators, and it's not as meaningful because you don't get to fire your head. You're not going to fire yourself to go hire somebody else, So I like the idea of being an owner so that if my coach isn't doing well enough and I wanted to go a completely new direction and hire a brand new head coach and do these different things, that was an option without the coaching points or what these coaches have to really matter. And it just doesn't seem like that's going to be a thing. So it doesn't seem like either mode for me really has everything I'm looking for. I hope one day that they do. But if I were to pick right now, I would probably go coaches mode as well. Nick, what are your thoughts?
If I could choose one, I would choose owner mode. I think the overall aspect of having the owner and being able to do the firing of all the coaches and being able to relocate. Like, I think that'd be really cool too, to have that option in the game. But like you said, we haven't done it for a reason, and coaches mode just seems to be the best way to go. So I would like to see them fix the owner mode because I think that'd be more beneficial going forward.
Yeah, I would love for them to add all the scenarios into owner mode. That would just... Oh, man, that would... If we can get back to the point where we're owning the team in every aspect, and we can set prices, and we can set coaches, and we can do the entire thing, bro, that is where I absolutely love it. I don't want to just be the GM of a team. I actually want to own the team and handle all of it. So, but it's got to be working, because I remember for a long time, we used to do owners mode, and even Moni as Minnesota could never get her team in a positive, it wasn't cap. It was just earning money.
It was the financial standing.
Yeah, it was the stadium always made her go negative, and they never fixed that. So I don't know if that's even something that they fixed to this day, because they haven't even put in scenarios. So in my head, it's like if they haven't even figured out a way to put scenarios in for owners mode, what makes me think they're doing anything to check for salary cap issues or money issues, money management issues, if they can't even do the part that everybody's gonna want. So I just don't have a lot of faith in owners mode at the moment. So that's kind of where my head is with that. We are going to take a really quick commercial break. As we come back, we are going to talk about things we are most excited for. We're going to talk about sliders, and we're also going to take a minute and we're going to spend some time and we're going to talk about how serious we really need to take all of this stuff in the Madden community. We will be right back.
The highest a commercial airliner flies is 45,000 feet. The highest a business jet flies is 51,000 feet. At SPA, we don't put a cap on how high we'll fly. We get in, strap up, and head for the moon. Are you afraid of heights? If not, come fly high with SPA Legacy. One league, one group, all together.
Guys, welcome back. We're here. I told them 5 seconds. That was 10 seconds ago. I am a fucking liar. Okay, so as we just ended, we were talking about owners versus coaches mode. If you didn't get a chance to see that, rewind it. We'll put this up on YouTube. Congratulations. You get to go do that. Here's what I want to talk to both of you about. Rather than just tell me who on your team, and if it is somebody on your team, we can go with that. What is the thing coming up in this Madden that you are like, I am itching and I am so excited for this?
You want to take it?
Mac, you go ahead, Mac.
Right now, for me, I never been really. I think it's probably on record that I wasn't a abilities guy, but I really like the balance and abilities they have in the game this year. So I like the fact that it seems to me that they corrected a lot of it. There are some that still, give you a little more edge than the next, but for the most part, it is nowhere near what it was when they introduced it. And me, sometimes, you guys know we're not going to get the 100%. It's perfect, but just to see progress as they continue to go. I'm one of those people that say, EA gets a lot of crap and they deserve it sometimes, but also we got to be, balanced and give them credit where it's due. So it's not like they just sitting on their butts and not tuning some of these abilities. So for me, just I'm excited to have abilities in the league this year, and I didn't think I would ever get to that point.
So we're talking about overall, like what we're looking forward to in Madden. I misunderstood it for a second. I thought we were talking about what we're looking forward to, and I was like, Justin fucking Fields.
Yo, it's whatever you're looking most forward to. So he's looking forward to the abilities. I've got my own thing that I'll talk about. What are you looking like when I say, how excited are you for Madden 22? What's the first thing that comes to your mind and you go, oh, I can't fucking wait?
Oh, I mean, if we're just going to talk about like what I'm looking forward to, gameplay, Justin Fields to Cole Kmet all year long, putting the ass whipping on people with that combination. But as far as gameplay, see, the whole next gen thing, I haven't really dove into the next gen thing, so I'm still learning the whole current gen. Well, I guess however you want to say that, the 21 to 22 on how the game's played, and the game plays so much slower, and I have had so much trouble lining up tackles. I never had trouble lining up tackles one-on-one, but now I'm in open field one-on-one, and I get nervous. Like, I'm gonna straight miss this motherfucker. Like, that is one thing that I literally am worried about going into it, and I don't know if anybody else is having that same issue, but it's definitely a different game. This is not the same game from last year at all. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also looking forward to whether or not the defensive ends will actually overpower the offensive line. If you can go out there and pull a cool breeze and have 55 overall guys on your front line and still go out to the Super Bowl. So looking forward to seeing what EA did as far as that.
I'll tell you, I'm very excited with how my defensive line is playing right now. Chandler Jones is a beast. J.J. Watt is doing his things, and that's a huge tribute to, because the only times I've played realistically with the sliders are with Serious Max sliders, which is actually a great segue into what we're talking about next, Nick. So you killed it, bro. You absolutely. Mac, you put out a realistic slider set. You put out an XP slider set. You've put out an update to the slider set. There might be one that I'm missing. What has your last few weeks been like?
Oh, man. It's been crazy to be, blunt with you guys. I didn't expect my subscribers on my YouTube channel to just skyrocket the way it did. And I'm saying skyrocket as a person that just started this channel like a month ago to date. Just the responses I've gotten. The first slider video came out to about somewhere going on 300 different comments between me and the people. People reaching out to me on Twitter, following me, hitting me in the DMs, asking questions. I've been invited on 2 different podcasts throughout the Madden community. It's just been, I didn't expect none of this stuff. I don't know how this stuff goes, so I'm not gonna act like I do. But it's just been amazing, man. Like, a lot of this stuff is just a learning experience as I go. So, I'm just glad the people have been able to get back to me, let me know that they've been having the best time they've had with franchise in some years. And I guess, at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding for me, man. If I can affect the Madden community like that, I'm all for it.
Nick, have you had a chance to play with the sliders yet?
No, I actually haven't. I've heard a lot of good things, and I keep my ear to the ground on it. So a lot of people seem pretty happy, and I know Calc. He's intense, and
Who?
sorry, Mac. I still got.
It's all good. It's all good, baby.
Mac is intense about things, and he sees things all the way through to the end. He's a smart guy, so I have full faith that his sliders are good. And I was sitting there thinking, man, like you should put it out there. Like these forums are out there. This SPA sliders, this Mac sliders. Then because you can download that on Madden, right?
Yeah.
You can go search out SPA sliders or however you want to put them out there. I mean, this could be a thing put out there.
Someone did mention that to me to put them on like a Madden file, share file or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, share them.
And I've also had some like email requests for my my team management council. I put it in my first video, just handling the salary cap and stuff like that. I had to learn that stuff from Grady actually in like last Madden, a couple Maddens ago. Grady taught me how to, really use 1 year contracts and stuff like that. But now I have it in front of me to where I can look 6 years out, on how to manage the salary cap. So I've sent that to a few people, who just personally hit me off the YouTube channel saying, hey, I need that tool. So, if anybody else want it, you guys can have it. It's up to you guys. So, but it's been pretty cool, man.
It's been awesome. So just so people know the timeline of how this happened, we never went to Mac and asked him to create something. He just found something he wanted to create. I was taking a vacation. I'm still kind of on that vacation, even though we've kind of been working pretty hard the last few days. One of the things that happened, though, is he never even reached out to me to tell me he was doing the video. He never reached out to see if we wanted to test it. But a lot of you guys did. Like guys like Mayor, SK Gaming, guys like Kush. Just to name a few, reached out and like, hey, have you had a chance to test these? And I was like, no, I've played nothing but Mutt. And when I say I'm playing nothing but Mutt, a lot of the responses I get from people are, including Serious Mac, is, oh, great, we're going to have all these Mutt tendencies and stuff. Just so you guys know, I don't even play head-to-head versus anybody. I fucking hate the cheese over on Mutt, but I am so addicted to just building my squad, right? Like, to collect cards, like, I feel like, do you guys remember when you were like kids and like you would want like Pokemon cards or basketball cards or some of these ones? Like I felt it's a lot like wrestling. I thought my love of wrestling was completely dead. Like I haven't watched wrestling since the late 90s, the early 2000s. And it's not that wrestling was ever dead. It's that the product was so bad that I had nothing to watch. But now with this new AEW thing, I've had a lot of fun. It's been cool. Like I've tuned in. It's been a fun experience. And I realized I don't hate wrestling. I just hated what wrestling became. It was a very stagnant thing. Mm-hmm. That's very similar to how I feel about these cards. And with Mutt, collecting cards and the Pokemon things, that had a shelf life for me. It was cool for a while. I really enjoyed that process of collecting them, but after a while it just became very stale. With this Mutt thing, I've been so addicted to just building like my cards team. Like I've got the new Antro Roll card, I've got the new Leonard Davis card, he's playing right guard. So I really enjoy being able to do these kind of things. But they all hit me up. They were like, hey, can you get into Let's Do This? So I was like, yeah, sign me up. Let's do the league. Let's have some fun. Like let's go. And we've been testing. And since then, I've talked with Mac a few times, and he's made it very clear, hey, I didn't do this so you guys would just take us and get away from doing RFF sliders or doing these different things. But Mac, tell him one of the things like we did talk about was how cool it would be for SPA to have its own slider guide. Can you let people know what your motivations were for doing these sliders when it comes to your channel or when it comes to SPA?
Okay. So for me, I'm an engineer by trade in my professional life. So for me, I look at a lot of code and how things work. Now, of course, as a user, we can't see code and stuff in Madden. That's just not something we're allowed to do. But I still see an Xbox console and downloading a game the same way you would download something to on your work laptop or something. It's all just hardware and software. So for me, when I look at sliders, the way I understand it, and this is just how I put things together in my mind and according to the way that I do my work, is that EA develops the game and they have their defaults. Whatever their defaults are with their gameplay, they're on the front end of development, whereas us users, the commissioners, you guys, are on the back end of development by our sliders, we're able to move them and tune the game to what we feel it should be. When I did that, I tuned the game for what we do here in SPA, because I do take pride in how we play. I do take pride in our wanting to define sim. So if for anyone who's seen the video, I did our sliders on all Madden. I did it with 15-minute clock, 10-minute Excel, and I think the time management and how different leagues play and how much clock time they have matters in how you tune your sliders. So for me personally, I know Madden, I think it was last Madden, I remember watching Nick play a game, and Khalil Mack just was ineffective so much. He was ineffective. It seemed like no matter who Khalil Mack was going up against, he would not get a sack or whatever. But the thing is, I don't really tune for sacks. I tune for disruptiveness, because it's about timing when it comes to the NFL, as a lot of you guys know. So if a player might not get 10 sacks a game, but if he has 10, 8, 9 pressures, that changes how the offense will be able to execute. And that should be built on matchups, So when I did my sliders, I had a great lineman versus a great rusher. See how many times that rusher can get past the D lineman with a power rush or a speed rush. But then I took that same, I went on purpose, go into the depth chart, put in the backup, and see how the effectiveness, changes over the course of a game. And you can do that half by half, on all Madden if you want to. But when it comes to just doing my sliders, guys, I look for realism. I know we'll never be able to get and Mo, you told me about this, we'll never get it to the point where it's set in stone for an entire cycle. That's not going to be possible. You guys know even better than me that we are not going, that things are going to have to be changed over time. But SK Gaming, he gave me the method of, hey, try it on the outside, do your thing. But he told me I was doing a good job. He said, try it on the outside. Once you comfortable with something, let me know, and we'll go over it and change it and test it out. And I appreciate Mo, you a commissioner, you've been in the test league. Some of our users been in the test league, and guys have been getting back to me like Kush, Callow, just guys who've been actively playing. And I just appreciate the feedback, not only from the people on my YouTube channel, but from my peers that I interact with on a game by game basis. So it's been pretty cool, guys. And I just thanks for the opportunity.
Well, you're going to get a chance to hear my direct feedback right now. I've already given you some of my feedback as is. But for those of you that are tuning in that you haven't played the sliders yet, Nick is one of them. Here's my feedback with the sliders. I love them. I've been playing a lot of MUT. I've been playing some head-to-head. But as you play realistically, for me, there's just no substitute. So I went into my very first game, and it wasn't that I went into my first game going, hey, I hope these are realistic, or I hope these different things. I went into it going, is this going to immediately replace the fun that I'm already having? And it didn't just replace it. It far surpassed it. It was just a very, very enjoyable experience. Now, having said that, I am somebody that I don't do a lot of the stat digging myself. Nick is way better at that than I am. When it comes to cheese and stuff, Nick is way better at that than I am. So what I know when it comes to playing is how it feels. I like for it to feel realistic. I know the feeling I'm looking for. I also like to... I liked when I visually look at it, I like for it to look like real football. Like that's my goal, is I want to see on the screen match what we see in real life. Now some of you guys are much better at going be like, hey, but that's cheese, so you can't do it, so it can't match runs like the one cut stick with the left stick, right? There's some things that we do that I don't understand why it's as cheese as what it is, but again, I also hold off my voting until everybody's talked before me, because I know I'm probably the least informed person in the room. So it's good to know your positives and negatives. Having said that, this is probably, with Serious Max Signers, this is probably one of the most enjoyable experience Madden-wise that I've had so far. So huge shout out to you, Serious Mac. They're really well done. The videos are phenomenal. You've got a voice made to do these kind of things. So I don't think that there's anybody that watched those videos and went, I'm surprised these are blowing up. We've all pretty much told you that as you start doing things consistently and find the things that tap into, that you are emotionally connected to, you are going to blow up because you do such a good job, you know. So huge shout out to you, huge shout out for your channel. If people haven't seen that yet, can you tell them where to go on YouTube to check that out?
It's just my Serious Mac YouTube channel. I posted for you guys on the stream, and you know, any and all love, and I say this, you know, just briefly, for anybody who clicks on my video, you know, just viewing it, I appreciate it. I respect you guys' time. I try not to make my videos too long, but if you want to sub, man, sub. If you don't. It's 7.7 billion people on this earth. I know I'm not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, so I'm all cool with, you know, the thumbs up, thumbs down. It ain't, you know, at the end of the day, I gotta wake up and go back to my full-time job. So I love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all support, man, and I'll post it in the chat here.
Facts. Guys, we're going to take a really quick commercial break. As we come back, Matt, go ahead and wait to do that, because as we go on commercial, it's going to erase your message anyway. So do it as we come back from commercial, so it'll stay up for the screen, so anybody that watches on YouTube gets a chance to do that. We're going to take a really quick commercial break. As we come back, we are going to talk about some of the things we are most excited for. We're going to talk about the divisions we're excited for, the content, the gameplay, all these different things that we are looking forward to. And we're also going to spend some time talking about how serious we actually want to take the roles that we take on, or the ways that we do some of the decision making here in SPA, because it's something that I talked to Serious Mac about the other day, and if he has some of the questions that he had, I'm sure some of you do as well. So we are going to tackle that here in about 40 seconds. I will see you guys in just a minute. Guys, welcome back. All right, so we have tackled some new rules. We have tackled the Discord. We have tackled scenarios. We've tackled owner versus coaches mode. We've tackled the sliders. It's been a ton of fun. Thank you for putting that up on there. So anybody that hasn't checked it out, we're Serious Mac YouTube. If you haven't seen it and you can't click the link because you're on YouTube, look on the search menu for Serious Mac. It'll come right up, and it's a phenomenal follow. If you guys aren't doing it yet, you are messing it up, because it's great content. Here's one of the things that, and I don't mean to throw you under the bus, Serious Mac. That is not what this is for. But you raised some concerns to me the other day, and when people do these kind of things where they say things, I don't just try to end the conversation and combat it versus you. My concern after we left that conversation was, if he feels like this, there might be other people that feel like this as well. And I would like to get this out in the open so that we're all kind of on the same page, right? And one of the things that you mentioned to me the other day was, hey, with what you do over at League Crawler, does that play into an impact on the decisions that go around here? And it wasn't something that you accused me of. I don't want anybody out there to be like, oh my God, Serious Mac accused Moe of making political decisions based on what he does at League Crawler. That wasn't what the conversation was at all. It was something he said, hey, is this something that happens? It just kind of questioning it. It was a fearful kind of thing. What's the process like? And I want you guys to understand that I don't take it that serious, right? Like, when we started this 6 years ago, and I took on the commissioner's job, and we were trying to grow it, and we were getting into, especially when we got into the Madden community, and we started to see what others, I was taking it pretty serious. We were trying to grow it. We were trying to get our name out there. I wanted people to see what things we were doing and get your guys' name more out there, right? And that was probably about 3 years ago now. Since that time, even last year, I probably took it more serious than I wanted to last year. We got the second league going up. We got the third league going up. It was serious. I know that Nick, at times, me and him butted heads a lot last year, and I think it was because we both were probably taking this too serious. And I think we had conversations where we both kind of said the same thing, that it's just not that serious. So going forward, I want people to understand where you guys are in a league where you have to understand where the commissioners are at mentally. And if you don't understand where the commissioners are at mentally, you're probably going to be questioning what direction we're going, what our goals are. Our goals as a community is always to define sim. We want to have the most realistic experience possible with no cut corners. My goals personally, I don't want anybody to create something where somebody can come along behind me and go, you guys have all of this, but we have blank and you guys don't. I don't ever want to cut corners. If there are ways for us to have a more realistic product, I am on board. Now, the question was asked, hey, if these sliders are more realistic or people are liking these more, is there a reason that we could potentially go with RFF sliders over for AWFL because you guys just had them on League Crawler or because you're doing the League Crawler podcast? And I'm going to let you guys know this because Matt's going to watch this show too. I don't take it that serious. I just don't. There's not a political bone in my body when it comes to this Madden community. I am no longer trying to grow SPA into a brand that is globally recognized, much like the Soden Bowls and some of these other leagues are. I just don't have a desire to do that. One, because I don't have a desire to be on top of something that's that large. Like, I just don't want to deal with all that extra drama. I want a place that is fun to play in. I want a place that I can be creative and do some of the content and stuff that I do. I want a place that feels as close to real football as what it can possibly feel like. But if we shut our doors tomorrow to the outside community and no one got to see what we were doing, we didn't do another podcast, I stopped doing the League Crawler show and all of that, I would still be happy in doing exactly what we've been doing, and that is relying on people around me to make what I feel are the best informed decisions that they possibly can, and together we'll create something that is realistic that other people just don't have. I don't think one person can create sim. I don't think one person can define sim. That is why since the time we created this, it's been up to a community. It's been up to a vote system, and not one person has more power than anybody else. Like, it's made to work as a group. So I know with where I am at, last year and maybe a few of the years prior, I took this way too serious. But I think me and Nick probably hit a similar point last year, probably around. Nick, what would you say the time frame for your want this where you had that epiphany where you're like, we're taking this too seriously. It's just not worth all this.
It was towards the end of the last cycle.
I would say probably about February, right?
Yeah.
I would say about February. We both were doing everything we could to build SPA to the heights that we could, and I think we both just kind of hit that point where we're like, why does this have to be more than just about being fun and being about an experience where we're just enjoying this? And I think we both took a huge step back, and not in a way that affected the community. We still did our jobs for the community, but when it came to being a driving force to want to showcase this, it just wasn't something that either one of us had a huge desire to really do anymore. You know what I mean? Where are you at mentally right now with how serious you are taking this position or the community or the role of what we're doing?
I'm not. Before we kind of got to the point where we were butting heads, and then we had that commissioner chat was lit. the outside didn't see it, but we had moments in there where we were going at each other's throats.
Oh yeah, almost every day.
And we both kind of had to stop, and we're like, all right. And so I took a little time away. I still did my thing, but we finally talked it out. We hashed it out. We got to this point, and we're good. And so now I'm just kind of like, hey man, we're all in this together. We have the rep team. We have the commish team. We got Serious Mac over there doing his cool shit that he's doing. SPA right now is in a better spot than I can ever remember it. Mm-hmm. When I first came into the league, it was a cool ass league, but you know, we had some things to do. We had a lot of learning, and we had so many big ideas that we finally got to where we're at now. Those big ideas that we had were here, and so I think we fought really hard to try to make it. And we kind of lost focus. So right now, man, I feel good. I'm ready for 22, and I'm just doing my commission duties to get all the backgrounds, the background shit going, and yeah, we're good. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Serious Mac, your name is serious. So I expect you to take things serious, right? Where are you at currently, and be as real as you would like to be with? Because this is your community of brothers. One of the things that I try to talk to Mac about pretty consistently is his place in the community and how he feels accepted by his brothers. And one of the things that I've tried my best to kind of get him to understand, and maybe other people can do it more than me, is that we just kind of love having you here because of who you are. Like, we're not asking you to be somebody that you're not. We love the passion that you have, but I know for me, I can only speak for myself, right? So to do this live on air, I think is cool. The only thing that I want to see from you going forward isn't trying to take these things and over expand yourself to a point where you're getting frustrated. I just want to see you complete a cycle. And I think a lot of your brothers in SPA are in that same boat. And I know this year you voted to be a rep. And I know that there are people that ask me, hey, how come you didn't vote for Calc? I know that he had mentioned wanting to do it. I'll tell you right now why I didn't. I don't want to add things to your plate that I feel like you could feel at any point that you had to walk away because it's too much. I just want you to enjoy your experience here and to get through an entire cycle. And I want to see you after that 6-season run with that same smile on your face, ready to go for Madden 23 with that fresh smile, knowing there's a whole off season to get through. And I think at that point, I would be at the point that I would continue to vote for you for any of the things that you want to do, even to come take my role if that's what you want. And I told you that from day one. So I know that's how I view, but outside that, I just don't take it that serious. My role with you is just to get you to enjoy the things that you're doing and to keep that smile on your face. Because when you're smiling and when you're having fun, you make this place such a better place to be. And I think every single person that knows you would say that same thing. So where are you at right now with how you're viewing SPA? And what are your goals for this cycle?
Well, my goal right now is exactly what you mentioned, is getting through a cycle. So the first, it's going to be dated back a little bit, but before the last cycle ended, the person that told me that they wanted me to finish a cycle was Lampard. Mm-hmm. And he and I were talking in the DMs, and he straight up told me, he was like, look, man, I love that you're here. And he said, but I just want to see you stay. And that was like really simple, but I understood where he was coming from. And that's just been the consistent message that I've gotten from everybody. Sometimes I do feel like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, because I try to consider other people's feelings. And sometimes that's not really a good thing, because I could be inaccurate on what I'm believing someone else feels. Mm-hmm. But I know that how I am and the passion that I have for what I believe in, when I believe in something, I buy into it like through and through, and it becomes like a part of me. So, but at the same time, that could rub some people the wrong way. I remember one time, I think I told you also, Mo, that, Brian told me, he was like, hey, you working too fast, like slow down, dude. Like, and I was like, y'all want somebody that'll do the work, and I'm trying to do the work. And he was like, yeah, but, kick it back a gear a little bit, but I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm like really dedicated. I don't have a lot that, I guess everything I do, man, I feel, here's my philosophy. If I'm spending time on it, then I have to be serious about it because I hate wasting time. That's why I can never go to jail. I probably destroy myself or something because it's just a waste of time, bro. But if I'm doing something, man, if I'm spending my time on it, I can't get that time back. So no matter if it's like helping you guys draw up a rule, if you guys just reach out and ask me for my opinion on something or anything like that, if I'm spending my time on it, I have to give it my 100%. I don't really know how to not do that. You know what I mean? Now there's things that could discourage me, and y'all will see me go from 100 to 0 like really quick. But I'm trying to work on that, trying to work on just the mental balance of being in the game. I think one of the best things that happened to me in SPA was being a part of the AFC North with Grady, Trey, and Fit last Madden for that season before we got the Infinity guys over. But being in there with them and I just, it kind of repositioned me on what it takes to not only be in SPA but to stay in SPA. And the first thing Trey told me was like, bro, this is a marathon. It ain't a sprint at all. Fit was like, take this thing one week at a time, win or lose. And then Grady has always kept it straight with me, like, look, if you need something, you step to it. I don't care what week it is. If you win by 50, you lose by 50. He was like, just say something, And being in there with those guys who like Trey's a commissioner now, Grady was a commissioner, Fit was a commissioner. That was like a cornerstone for my development as a SPA person, like as a SPA user. You know what I mean? Because I was surrounded by leadership. I was surrounded by guys who've been doing it for years. So I think that is all going to, rear its head and show up, and provide me with more consistency and hopefully get me through the long run of what it takes to be here.
How long have you been in SPA, Mac?
Since November of 2019. Mo sent me my first message November 15th, 2019 on Twitter.
And how many seasons do you think, like how many Maddens was that? That was what? This is like your third Madden?
This would be the third one, yeah.
So it's kind of it became a running joke with me and Mac that I have been in the league this long, and me and him have never played each other, not one time. We have talked shit like preparing for that game to come, and then we just haven't played. So I'm looking forward to finally playing him.
Oh yeah,
looking forward to that game.
So am I. Believe me. So am I.
I think and I'm not gonna lie. Me and Mac have had the same conversation. I'm looking forward to when he gets to a point where he feels comfortable with all of the members that we have here in the community. And there are times that I think that, and I don't think it's just Mac. I think there's a lot of people that kind of come through our doors. I know that there's people that come from other leagues, and a lot of other leagues out there are set up to want to be the best. They are set up to, we want to do content because we want people to see all our work, and we want to show that we're the league of the year. We want to do this. I don't care if we never win a league of the year. Like, I just don't. So I don't think Serious Mac's opinion on how things kind of go behind the scenes, I don't think that that's an individualized opinion that no one else shares. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have come through the door that have shared that kind of opinion. So I want people to at least leave this conversation knowing what our goals are. My goals are not to win League of the Year. I don't care if we're not even nominated. In fact, they nominated us this year for the League of the Year, and as soon as they did it, I actually reached out to the people doing it. I was like, take us off there, because I think it was one of our worst years, to be truthfully honest with you. It just wasn't an enjoyable process the entire way through. So I don't have a desire to do that. I don't have a desire to take the League Crawler show and make it anything more than just promoting other people. Like, I don't. If the show blows up and I get more viewers and I get to do it full time, that's great, because I get to talk to people about the things they're doing about. I do the show because Matt, the guy that owns the League Crawler, is the most selfless person I've ever met in any community I've been into, not just the gaming community. He doesn't even play in a league because he doesn't want people to think that he favors one over the other, so he just refuses to play. And he loves playing Madden, so he's taking something that he's doing less for himself so that other people just don't feel like he's doing that. So when I see people doing stuff like that, I can get on board with people like that. Like, I like working with selfless people because I'm wired the same way. I do all the things that I do for fun. So when it comes to SPA, I want that same exact thing that we do with League Crawler. I don't want people here because they are just trying to make it the best place to ever be. If people enjoy it and they do the content and they have fun, I believe they can do that anyway. I believe just by pure passion and having fun, people on the outside can see the stuff that we're doing inside and be like, that looks like a really cool place to work. A lot like AEW is kind of looking right now, and the product they're getting, I view that same exact way that we do things here. If you let people be creative and you let people have a voice and you let them have this sandbox that they can just kind of do the things that they want, they're going to have fun and they're going to make this an enjoyable process. And if we all do that together, we can all come up with a pretty cool sandbox for us all to play in, and we all should be able to look at it and be like, this is very realistic because we've all had a hand in it. So I don't want people, I know that Serious Mac had that question or those concerns. I hope that we're kind of putting those to rest with anybody else that has those same kind of concerns out there. I just don't take it that serious. Like, this is all just a fun process for me. And if that means that we're not going to use RFF sliders, even though we've used it the last 4 years because we're going in a new direction, that's what it means. I don't care if we're using Serious Mac sliders. I don't care if we're using RFF sliders. I said this to Serious Mac the other day. I don't care if we're using his. I don't care if we're using RFFs. I don't care if Jesus Christ himself creates a slider and he's like, yo, these are it. Whatever one is the most realistic version are the ones we're going to roll with. Like, that's just kind of my view on it, and I just don't find it to be that anymore. And I haven't always been like that. I know that I've taken SPA more serious than it should have at times. My wife will be the first one to admit it to you. But where I'm at in my headspace right now and where I've been at like the last 6 to 7 months, that's just really not where I'm at. And I think Nick's kind of on the same way. I can't tell you one commissioner that's in that room right now that's like, this needs to be more serious than what we're taking it. We're getting our jobs done. We're completing our tasks. We're talking through it. And if people disagree with our opinions, they disagree with our opinions, and we kind of move on with our day because it ain't that big of a deal, Jack, you know? So is there anything else you guys want to add to that before we get into the last closing parts of this? And this is actually going to be like a fun little segment.
Yes. If Jesus Christ makes sliders, I want to try those sliders out.
Me too.
I'll try them out, but I'm not saying that we're absolutely going to use them. I would like to see the stats and pull them and see what's, because you know what? He may not have the rushing the way that I like the rushing. You know, he may have speed threshold a little bit different. He may not like 15-minute quarters. He may be going like 12-minute. I kind of want to steer away from some of that. So let's get into this. Content-wise, when you look across the league, right? It would be very easy for you to be like, this is the one person whose content I'm really interested in doing. But what division do you look at and be like, oh, there's going to be some serious content coming out of that division?
Oh, man.
Right now, for me, I would say right now with you and Kush being the same one and that happening twice a season, I think that's going to be fun.
And Heartless. Heartless is going to have his channel up and going.
Oh,
like, he's got his own thing. He's the ramp. So that's that's the one that I have. I have the NFC West as the content division that I'm most excited to see.
Okay. I'm definitely looking forward to. So since I've been in SPA, Troller Dog has always had the Titans. I'm looking forward to seeing what Ice Cold does with the Titans, because I really love his intro where he did that first video. That video where he went through with the overview of his team, that was pretty dope.
This is hard to answer because I don't know everybody that's going to be doing content this year. Like, do we have a list? Do we have a running list out there?
I can pull one up right now for you, actually. If you want to keep talking for a second to kill time so we don't have dead air, it would be great.
I will say this. I miss doing the content that I was doing. I had so much fun doing it, but man, to do content every single game and like to cut them up and to do all that, I mean, it took so much time out of my day, and I just didn't have enough time. So I think I did 2 seasons, maybe almost 3, and then I was just like, all right, I can't do this anymore. But I had tons of fun doing it, and then that shit is fun. And so it makes me really, really respect everybody that does that put in that time, because man, it's not something simple. I mean, it's a process. It's a serious process.
It's definitely another piece of a lot of work to get those things done. But a concept that I seen Brian and Moe do was just, if you want to do content and just to have a channel, there are football fans in this world who will watch your entire game. So if you don't want to cut up the game, post the whole damn thing, and I will watch it. Other people will watch it because there are some people who love football. You know, and then some diehard Bears fans, Cardinals fans, Titans fans. If you don't want to cut it up, man, post the whole game. So what I found out, and this is just through my comments that I've gotten from my channel, people watch YouTube at work,
all day,
at the gym. They watch it at the breakfast table, everything, man. So sometimes people will watch your game like the first couple of quarters if that's all they can fit in, and they'll come back to it and pick up where they left off when they get home. You know, so posting the entire game really cuts out like 50% of the work instead of editing anything. So for anybody who don't have the time or the software to edit games, man, just post the whole thing. People will watch it and they will be excited and talk about it. And that's just me learning that from what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I won't lie to you. So I was cutting up all my content, right? And I think most of the videos that I have with my cut up games were getting like 40 views, 30 views, something like that, right? Then I started doing them without cutting up anything, and I was still getting like 40 views, 30 views.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really anything that was going down. It was just more people being like, hey, you're not cutting these up anymore. I was like, no, I'm not. And they were like, why? I was like, because it takes hours. Like, it takes a long time to go through that process and figure out what you want to keep and what you don't, to add in the sound effects and do that. I was like, so I'll use my YouTube channel to put out all my my YouTube is almost like a storage for me. Like, that's the place that I can go on and I can save all of the old. So if people want to go through there and they want to look at it all, cool, because my Twitch is going to delete it after 14 days. So that's kind of how I use my YouTube at the moment. I don't edit any of that footage. I don't want to take the time to edit it. I take enough time to make my streams look cool. If you want to watch me live, you want to be a part of that, jump into my fucking streams. All right, boys. So that was the content play. Gameplay-wise, what division do you look at right now and you are most excited to see gameplay come out of?
I'm interested, in my division, the NFC East, because I feel like we're even across the board as far as talent. But also Nick's division, actually, because it's him. It's Brian, who's just, SPA through and through. He knows how to follow rules. And then then you got who else is in there with you? Let me see. Brian, Nick. Drew, my man Drew, he's in there, and I love those rivalry games between him and Nick. And then, so we got I think NGA Nightmares in there too, if I'm not mistaken. So just that the level of, I'm looking at that division because you have 4 guys who can all out ball, and if the rules are just followed to a T, and it's sim football being played, and it's just going to be like probably one of the most competitive, fun, tight scoring divisions in our league.
Agreed.
Yeah, I just want to make it to the Super Bowl one more time so I can lose again. That's
What division do you look at and you're most excited to watch, Nick?
Man, there's so many good divisions. The one division that actually stood out to me was the NFC South with
Hello, Mayor.
Allen went over there, and then with Mayor, and then who took the Saints team over? I don't have the list in front of me.
CD Tino, I think.
Okay, and then who was he? Who took the Falcon?
And then KP Gaming.
Yes. So I haven't seen too much of the other two guys, the Saints and the Falcons, but I've heard things, and I've seen Kylo play, and I know Mayer's chomping at the bit to get out there and bust some ass.
I don't think Mayor playing all these test league games for no reason, man. He practicing his ass off.
The Mayor has that stacked ass Bucks team. He's going to come out firing year one, and he's going to be ready to take it. But Kylo's no pushover. So right off the bat, I would say that is the division that I like the best as far as competitive. And then there's the NFC East, which is the one you're in, that I said before that I think everybody's going to win it at least once. And then naturally you have the AFC Central or North. So that's the Central North with Trey and Grady, and then you still got the same thing going over there. I just want to see somebody knock Trey off the top there a couple of times and humble his ass.
Fit almost did last year, man. He almost did. For me, it's going to be the AFC West. I think 3 out of 4 Super Bowl winners. That is a division I am ready to see them just kind of torch each other as many games as possible. That is going to be a fun one. let's talk about some content again. What user are you? We talked about division. What user are you looking at right now, being like, I am really excited to see the content they put out this year.
For me, it's gonna be Brian. Straight up, he's back, man. Like that's exciting for me. He's doing his content thing already. He's showed me his his layout. I'm excited for it, man. So it's definitely a freaking laser for me.
Outside of the usual suspects of Kush and you, Ice and Brian, like those are the two that I'm looking forward to. I want to see Ice with his actual team, and I think he's going to get more fired up and more into it. And Brian, he's always fun to watch. So those are my two.
I got Serious Mac. I think that'll be a good one. I got the ones that you guys already mentioned. I also got You Heartless and DK. Both guys coming in. Both have expressed want to do content. I think DK actually talked about potentially doing a podcast at some point. So I'm really excited to see some of the content stuff they do. When we talk about user gameplays, right? We talked about who we want to see against other people, what divisions we want to see battle, right? Who's one person that you want to see back on the sticks? I'll start it off. Mine is actually Brian. You guys picked him for the content side. I'm actually picking him for the gameplay side because when he was here last, he actually won our Sim User of the Year award 2 years ago. So I am really excited to see his sim gameplay come back onto the field in Detroit.
For me, it just be Nick. I've been watching Nick's games and following his games. So between Nick, you, Moe, and Brian, I've actually learned how to play sim ball. And then it just became a factor of trying to get better at it. But Nick has been like the guy that I watch just for if I want to see a good sim game, I know I gotta find out when the Bears gonna play. So I'll hop in Nick's DMs and ask him when's your next game so I don't miss it. So it's also why I'm hoping he comes back on YouTube. But yeah, so I watch Nick for sim games, man, all day long.
With me, I'm going to say Grady, and I'm only going to say Grady because not only is he a sim user, but I think he has a bad taste in his mouth from last year. Like everybody, pumped him up. Everybody thinks, Grady's always going to be one of the contenders. But last year, I think he fell flat on his face. And I think this year he's got a better team. So I'm excited to see what he does with his Browns this year in that division.
Yeah, that is somebody that I'm excited for. Okay, so let's get into I got 2 more questions and then we're done. You boys did great. What in-game character are you most excited to see play?
In-game?
In-game. For me, I'll start it off just so you guys understand where I'm going because Nick's face looked like I just asked him to lick poop. Okay, so in-game character for me, I am most excited to see Justin Fields play on the field, like especially with what Nick does in his offense to have a quarterback with some speed. I am excited to see Justin Fields. So with other guys having new characters to move around, what in-game, and it can be a rookie, it can be a veteran, it can be anybody you want. What in-game characters are you most excited to see play this year? Who do you think is going to stand out?
I want to see what Bobby does with Trevor Lawrence. I'm interested in that because Bobby is he does well with putting together teams, but I feel like he has a team that he has to like develop out the gate. Like he doesn't really have to make a ton of moves right now to bring in younger guys. Like he got Trevor Lawrence, ATN, just a bunch of guys that the Jaguars picked up. So I'm looking at Trevor Lawrence and seeing what Bobby does with him actually.
Man, there's so many players out there. Like,
yep.
The first person that I thought of is B-Dub with Devonta Smith, and because he likes to get that running going, but I've seen him kind of light it up, and if he gets somebody like that in his offense, I'm interested in seeing what he does. So, like this right off the top of my head, Devonta Smith with B-Dub.
Got it. And last question. A 90-plus overall player, who do you think is going to be the best character traded in our first season?
Hell of a question. I'm going with maybe Aaron Donald.
Oh, that's a
Maybe.
big one.
Maybe Aaron Donald. I'm not sure about the. I think we have a new user there, so when you have like new users when they come in, you never know what their game plan is or what they expect from them. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to develop his own system and bring in a boatload of picks or something like that. So I'm thinking Aaron Donald, and I think Alex had him last year, I believe, and I think Donald he moved Donald if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So I'm looking at that to possibly happen again with a new GM over in LA.
Oh man.
You were
I don't
thinking
think
this
he-
entire time.
I don't think he would trade. I don't think he would trade him, but I know that he let him go. So I'm gonna give you two answers on this one. The only reason I say this one is because he actually put him out there on the trade block, and I saw Von Miller on the trade block at one time, and I believe somebody's going to give Sheffington a boatload of picks or something to pull Von Miller. So I'd say that one may happen. And this isn't a trade, but last cycle, D. Rude let Aaron Rodgers go. And then that became a big old thing. So does he do that again? Does he let Aaron Rodgers walk and then do the Jordan Love thing? Or so yeah, I'd say trade Von Miller, and then he'll probably let Aaron Rodgers go, and then we'll see that big old Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes again.
Well, if somebody don't mind, I just want to add, bro. Spud has Saquon on the block, so if somebody could come get him and take care of that, be perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Nice. So I'll finish answering mine because I haven't done mine. I actually got you on my list for this, Nick, because I highly suspect that if Khalil Mack doesn't absolutely ball out in the way that you want him to ball out, I think Khalil Mack gets traded this Madden. Even maybe the first offseason.
We'll see. We will see. Like, I'm all about it. And I know the last Madden, I was pissed every single season because Khalil Mack was just getting locked up by bums. But if these sliders are anything like I've heard, Khalil Mack's going to do some damage. So we'll see.
Guys, it was a blast to have you on. I appreciate you both for your time. You absolutely killed it. You brought it. It was a fun show. It was a very real show. We got to handle some things and put some things out on the table that I think is good for the entire community. So thank you for your time. Chat, for all you guys that showed up, from the Ice Quotes to the SK Games, the Hackinors, to Soden was here for a bit. Lampart was in here. Who else we have? I think the chat was blowing up here for a little bit. Nick was in here. His Stickmaster was here. Nick Larson was here. CG was here. Did I miss anybody? So we got that one. No, I think we got everyone. Huge shout out to all you guys for showing up. This is always a blast. If you missed it live, it is going to be up on YouTube. So if you aren't here and you're watching it on YouTube and you're still here, now's the time that you can go because the show is over. I'll see you guys next week. Appreciate you being here. Adios.